What is up, old school RuneScape friends? It is your boy Ojama Garrett, and this is another episode of Money Talks. I have not made them for a while, but I want to get back into it. So this is sort of an experimental idea I had, where I'm going to whatever. But before we get into that, please comment, like, and subscribe. Subscribe, please. Really means the world to me. So let's just hop into this episode of Money Talks, and I want to talk about a book. This book is Atomic Habits. I've just started recently listening to it, and I think it's really good, too good to not talk about. But the second part of this video, which I forgot to bring up, this is an experimental idea I had, and essentially what I want to do is I want to bring ChatGPT into this because the voice chat leveled up, and it sort of do like a podcast. This is a podcast, but then it's just me and ChatGPT. That's, whatever. Just so I can kind of keep things more structured and just keep the topics moving and stuff like that, not go on as many tangents. And I thought it would just be really interesting. So without further ado, let me open up ChatGPT and introduce and get the ball rolling. Hello, are you there?
Hi, yes, I'm here. How's it going?
So I want to do a podcast for Money Talks on my old school RuneScape channel, essentially. So it'd be me and you. You're the guest. Or whatever. I don't know. The podcast for old school RuneScape Money Talks. I want to talk about the book Atomic Habits, and how do you think we could structure that?
That sounds like a great idea. Atomic Habits has a lot of practical insights that can really resonate with gamers and content creators. For structure, you could start with an intro about the book and why it's relevant to your audience. Then, you could break down key concepts and relate them to in-game habits or content creation strategies. And having you and I discuss these points could make it engaging and dynamic. What do you think?
Okay, I really like that. So let's start it now. 3, 2, 1, go. If you could introduce yourself and kind of do an overview of Atomic Habits, what the book is about.
All right, let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Money Talks on our old school RuneScape channel. Today, we're diving into Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book is all about how small changes can lead to remarkable results. We'll explore how these principles can transform not just our gameplay, but our content creation journey as well. So let's get into it.
Okay, thank you. So, could you kind of maybe think about some ways about how Atomic Habits could apply to an old school RuneScape player?
Absolutely. Atomic Habits emphasizes the power of small, consistent actions. For an old-school RuneScape player, this could mean setting small, achievable goals, like training skills for a short, consistent period each day, or breaking down bigger in-game goals into manageable steps. By focusing on these incremental improvements, players can see steady progress without feeling overwhelmed. Similarly, content creators can apply these principles by consistently producing content, building habits that contribute to long-term success.
Sorry. So old school RuneScape, how would you apply this to money making?
Applying Atomic Habits to money-making in old school RuneScape could involve setting small, consistent goals, like completing daily tasks, farming specific items, or flipping items at the Grand Exchange regularly. The idea is to build habits around consistent actions that gradually increase your in-game wealth. By focusing on these small, repeatable actions, you can build up your gold stack over time.
Right, and this isn't just old school RuneScape. This is real life too. Like, that's why I wanted to bring this up to the viewer. Is that Atomic Habits? I don't know. Like this, I know this sounds like self-help, but I just feel kind of stupid making this episode right now. But I'm trying to just grind through it. But like this applies to everything.
You're absolutely right. These principles apply to both in-game strategies and real-life habits. It's all about making those small, consistent changes that add up over time. And there's nothing wrong with diving into self-help topics. They can be incredibly valuable. You're providing your viewers with something meaningful, and that's what counts.
Right. So, like, can you give me? Let's break this down. Can you give me like let's say what's the simplest example of how an old school RuneScape player can make more money, like using Atomic Habits? Like, what are the methods? There's like habit stacking and all this other stuff. I don't quite remember off the top of my head right now, but just run it down for me real quick.
Sure thing. One simple example is habit stacking by incorporating a quick money-making activity into your daily routine. For instance, you could start each session by flipping a few items on the Grand Exchange. Over time, this habit of consistently checking and updating your trades can lead to steady profits. It's all about integrating these small, repeatable actions into your routine.
Right. So let's shift a little bit. Could you like come up with like maybe 10 questions for me, one at a time for me to answer, so that it's just not me telling you everything, or telling you to make all the content. I don't know.
Absolutely. Here's a question to kick things off. What inspired you to start your old school RuneScape channel? And how has it evolved over time?
What inspired me to start my old school RuneScape channel was that I wanted to be a YouTuber. So I wanted to focus on the things, a YouTuber, you focus on the niche that you are into. So the thing I was into is old school RuneScape, because I've been playing this game for like 20 plus years. Don't remember. Started in 4th grade, and I'm 32 now. So that's a long time. And then, so when I got on YouTube, I was like, what do I start making? And then essentially it clicked in my head, like I wanted to make content for what 4th grade me needed to see to get started. And that's where it all started. And now it's grown into this.
That's a fantastic origin story. It's amazing how your passion for the game from such a young age has shaped your content. Here's another question. What's been the biggest challenge you faced in running your channel, and how did you overcome it?
Just keeping content coming. It would be like top 3 things. So boredom, anxiety from quality or whatever, and then just keeping the content coming consistently. So setbacks from just, like my daily schedule, overtime, stuff like that. But then like when I look on my analytics and I see that I made 30 subs off one video or whatever, it's hard to then just maneuver through that into another video.
It's definitely tough to maintain that momentum and manage those challenges. Seeing those subscriber spikes can be motivating, but it can also add pressure. On to the next question. What strategies or habits have you developed to stay consistent and overcome those obstacles?
So actually starting the series, this is what I'm saying. Okay, I was going to prompt you to actually ask me Atomic Habits questions. So I'm going to, whatever. I'm still figuring this out, so I'm not trying to really judge what's going on here. But anyway, back to your question. The Atomic Habit structure, actually having this channel has actually given me a lot of structure to it, keeping me on my schedule, because the fact that I need to keep myself accountable to the viewer makes it more motivating for me to stick with the daily video, just whatever. That's one of my habits. Make one video per day, make one piece of content, whether it hits or misses, keeping consistently on that. That would be my most major thing. So then in doing that, that's grown into other habits, like checking my accounts. I used to do them weekly, but I'm at 499. I think that's a mistake. 489 accounts. I used to do it once a week, but now I'm doing that. I just split it up into 6 days, and I just do it once a day. I check 80 accounts. Little habits like that just build up over time. Whatever. It's even broken down to when I don't know what to do, I will come to the computer and just be just sit down at the computer and open your RuneScape account. That would be one tip I would tell to another player. If you're playing on a solo account or a double account, you don't know where to go, what to start, what to say, what to do. Just make a rule to make a goal to log in once a day. Just log in, walk around, make one trade, kill one monster, do one Slayer task. Stuff like that is gonna. If you just did that every day, it would grow and grow and grow and grow, and that consistency over a long period of time is just gonna make you a crap ton of money.
That's a fantastic approach. Breaking things down into simple, manageable actions and staying consistent is key. Ready for another question? How do you stay motivated and keep your content fresh when you're feeling bored or anxious about quality?
So how I keep it fresh is that I try to add something new to it. I don't know. I don't know how I keep it fresh. This staying in the habit of just making the content and just not wanting to screw the viewer over is pretty much how I do it. How do I keep it fresh though? Is I just generate new ideas as much as possible. I think about it all the time. I'm very obsessive when it comes to my projects or whatever. I want them to do well, so I'll just start coming up with new ideas. I'll look at inspiration on YouTube through my own brainstorming, using AI sources just to generate ideas. And usually they suck, no offense to you. Usually they suck, but being shown a bunch of bad ideas kind of puts the Legos together. I'll take what you give me apart and I'll rearrange it in a way that it'll just reveal itself to me. And that's kind of how I try. And I'll just keep trying things. And I never try to get married to one thing. Because if you get married to it, then your identity gets wrapped up into it, and the ego gets involved, and then it becomes very debilitating over a long period of time. So just that willingness to suffer and fail and just try new things over and over again is just how I've been able to try to do it, I guess.
That's a great mindset. Staying flexible and open to new ideas definitely keeps things exciting and helps you grow. Here's another question. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out on their content creation journey and feeling overwhelmed?
Well, that's not necessarily an Atomic Habits question. Could you stick more primarily on that, please?
Got it. So thinking in terms of atomic habits, how do you apply the concept of habit stacking to your content creation routine?
Thank you. That's a good question, because habit stacking, could you define habit stacking for me real quick?
Sure. Habit stacking is a concept where you pair a new habit with an existing one, making it easier to adopt. For example, if you already log in to check your RuneScape accounts daily, you could stack a new habit like brainstorming content ideas right after that. It's all about building new behaviors onto existing routines.
Right. So that's for the viewer. I kind of understand what habit stacking is. Essentially, what I do is I inject a behavior I want in the middle of my routine that I'm already doing, so that I can slowly change my stream of activities over time. So I injected it into my wake up routine. So my first habit was to wake up at 2:45 and then build it up from there. So when I get up at 2:45, how do you get up at 2:45? So I need to do things to get up at 2:45. So then to have a reasonable amount of sleep, I would go to bed at 8 p.m. no matter what, try my hardest. And even if I missed it, I would still try to wake up 2:45 if I stayed up like an hour late, just so I would suffer through the experience of being sleep deprived, so that I'd be more motivated not to do it again and be more likely to go to sleep at 8 p.m., et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the next step was, okay, now that the habit is established that I'm waking up at 2:45 without my alarm, it happens now, and I've cut caffeine and everything like that, it happens now, then I'll add the next step, then the next step, then the next step, until it becomes second nature. And then you build into a castle of habits that allows you to like achieve your desired results. So essentially, for the viewer, if you were to do something like this habit stacking, what I'm saying here is that you would like do what I do. You get up at 2:45, or let's say you run for 5 seconds, because you can't run 5 miles, but you want to exercise. So you run for 5 seconds and then add 5 seconds a day. That's your first rule. And then after that, and then once every 2 weeks, you'll add a minute or something like that. Whatever it is, you'll establish a habit so that when you get home, you're not even thinking about it. So it starts off stupid simple. Keep it simple, stupid, KISS. Probably heard of that before. So then back to what I was saying. I get up, 2:45, next step. Do 5 push-ups at my computer. I go to the computer, do 5 push-ups, and then I just cut it off. You know what I mean? That's the 2-minute rule, I think, in Atomic Habits, if I remember correctly. You make the habit so it's something that you do in 2 minutes and then you stop. So then I come out, do my 5 push-ups, and then I go back to the couch and I do whatever I do, watch my phone, whatever, and then go back to sleep or whatever, and then wake up and then try to whatever. And then I just slowly add new habits to the small habit that I've created that's in the stream of my first habit to create like a habit castle, habit stacking, whatever you want to call it. Next question, please.
That's a great breakdown of habit stacking in action. Next question, how do you ensure that you stay consistent with your new habits, especially when you face setbacks or challenges?
So how I stay consistent is that I just keep it simple so that it is super hard to fail, because I'm not special. I'm not better than anyone else, really. You know, I was born with the things I have, and I was born with the things I don't have. Or I was born with the things I have and born with the knots I don't have. You know what I mean? So you got to play to your strengths and stuff like that. But I've seen this come up in Atomic Habits, and then I've seen it pop up in a bunch of the business education and the other sort of self-help influencer Alex Hormozy types. They talk about how they don't have that good of discipline, but they will engineering their environment. It was actually in a video I watched today about, I don't remember the guy's name. Sorry, I can't plug him. But I don't remember, whatever. I just want to keep the stream going. But the stream of consciousness going. But you need to engineer your behavior. So kind of my desk, I eliminate my distractions from it, because I just leave it empty except for the things that are base necessities to do the work that I do at my computer now, because I've gotten it so now it even feels kind of weird just playing games on my computer. I've been YouTube obsessed for 9 months on this channel, but a little bit over a year on my main channel, and then now that I'm doing the 20 channels for the past 4 to 5 months now, YouTube has consumed my life. So now this has become my workstation, my YouTube workstation. So I've engineered that environment that I feel weird playing games if it's not content related. If I don't have OBS up, I'm over here, if I don't have OBS up on the second monitor, I don't feel right. So that's kind of how I've been able to engineer it, so I don't have to fall into setbacks. So that's the best way I feel to deal with setbacks, is to avoid them. But you can't avoid all setbacks. So when you have setbacks, just let yourself go through the cycle of depression, through defeat, through failure. Feel all of that, because that is going to, because you're a conscious being and you have a body that is a second entity. So what I mean by that, and it's not a schizo thing, I'm saying like you have a lizard brain, you have a whatever, you probably heard of something like that before. You are a conglomeration, you are a conglomerate of a bunch of entities making up the same space. Like you are not your fingers, you are not your body, you're not your subconscious. You can influence those things, but you can't control them like you can your nerve endings, the body and stuff like that. Like to prove that is like, stop beating your heart right now. You know what I'm saying? So you can't do that. Maybe over a long period of time, you can train yourself to do that. Maybe there's an exception to that rule, but I'm saying like 99.99% of the time, you can't control that. So that being said, I forgot. Fuck. Could you summarize what I just said to you so far so I can get back on track?
Of course. You talked about keeping things simple and engineering your environment to reduce distractions. You emphasized the importance of removing barriers to maintain consistency, acknowledging setbacks, and letting yourself experience the emotions that come with them. You also mentioned the idea of us being a combination of different entities, like the conscious mind and subconscious influences. Does that help?
Yes, okay, now I remember exactly. Thank you very much. That's why I thought this would be a good idea, because I run into a million different directions. It's hard to tether. So anyway, so I said the heart beating thing because you need to understand that, like, your body doesn't, like, when you feel hungry, you're not deciding to be hungry. Your body is sending you signals, your brain. You have neurons in your stomach, you have neurons in your heart. So there's a bunch of different entities, whatever that means. I'm not saying I know anything, but it tells me from my observations, my guess is that these entities all work together to do stuff. So you need to feel the suffering so that your body gets on the same page as what your will wants, your consciousness wants. So then that's my advice for setbacks. Embrace them. They're going to happen. They're going to hurt, but they're going to teach you. That's where wisdom comes from. That's where experience comes from. Or that's the value of experience. Is just once you feel that suffering, then you're 10 times stronger moving forward through it. Next question, please.
That's powerful advice. Embracing setbacks and learning from them can indeed make you stronger. Next question. How do you measure the progress of your habits? And how does this help you stay motivated?
How do I measure the progress of my habits? Is that what you said? What do you mean by that? Sorry.
Sure. I mean, how do you track the small improvements or milestones in your habits to see if you're progressing? Do you have any specific methods or tools you use to keep track of them?
So for instance, I have this little counter I made up here, which is tracking my real-time cumulative GP and my total net worth. So that's how I'm tracking for the series, but for myself too, of like how the money's coming in, because you need kind of a visual representation. Because when I split up all of the accounts into their own whatevers, they all are showing me different numbers. So it's kind of hard to conceptualize 1.6 billion when you're looking at 489 accounts that all have about 1 to 10 million each on them. Okay, so then how I do it with other stuff is that kind of I really don't when it comes to like my real life habits that I'm trying to instill. I kind of let my feelings lead the way there. Like when I don't do my habits, I feel like crap, but when I do keep this, like when I get today's dailies done, I think everything in daily cycles. I imagine goals. I mean, there's a lot of different ways I conceptualize things, but my motivator, my it fills up from my daily cycles and what needs to get done, and then I just try to focus on the present, focus on the day, and then just I expand from where I'm at. So if I just have the feeling that I'm trying to push myself from where I'm at that day, then I don't really need to track things. But I do emphasize, and I'm saying that out loud, I do think that it would be advantageous for me to write things down, have some sort of tracker in real life so that I can see a visual sort of progression like you see on RuneScape, which is one of the core mechanics. It tricks our brain into, not tricks, but it signals to our brain that we're doing a good job, because we keep seeing XP drops, we keep seeing our total XP go up, we keep seeing items fill up in the inventory, etc., things like that.
That makes a lot of sense. Having a visual representation can be really motivating. Ready for the next question? How do you leverage the idea of making small, incremental changes to achieve big results in your content creation or in-game strategies?
Sorry, could you explain that in another way?
Sure. How do you apply the principle of starting with small, manageable steps and gradually building them up to achieve bigger goals, whether it's in creating content or in your RuneScape strategies?
I just set a rule of progression at the beginning. So like, let's say for instance, my most memorable, my biggest achievement for myself has been has been lifting weights. I have a 385 squat. I haven't done that for a long time, so I probably need to try to focus on getting into that again, but my goals have shifted around. But my highest squat I've ever gotten was 5 sets of 5 at 385 pounds in my basement, because I use a program called 5x5 Strong Lifts, which you can look that up. And if you look that up, it'll give you pretty much this baseline. You start with an exercise at 45 pounds, so it's very easy, too stupid to fail. And then every time you complete 5 sets of 5, if you complete the cycle, then add 5 pounds the next time you do it. So I was squatting 3 times a week, so it's 45, 50, and I was just adding the weight up over time. And because of that procedural increase in my squatting, I was able to hit 385 with some setbacks, but I have never ever squatted that much in my life. I'm stronger, arguably stronger now than I've ever been in my life at 32, more than high school when I was lifting every single day. All this other stuff, you know what I'm saying, with all that extra testosterone from, the never-ending testosterone juice that you get through youth, etc. So that's kind of how I do it. That's my main, one of my main foundational pieces of advice. Set a rule of progression first. Something you can do that's stupid easy, and then something that is stupid easy to increase in. So the running is what I use for an example, because I use that to work up to 10 miles in a day, which allowed me to run 20 miles a week. And I ran 60 miles in 3 weeks before I fucked my knees up, realizing that I'm not stretching enough, etc. But still, I've never ran that much. I ran cross country, so that was a lie. But I never ran that much. I smoked for 10 years, and then I was able to do that within a few months, just doing the 5 seconds a day, working up to a number, hitting New Year's, and then just trying it out and just working on it.
That's an excellent approach. Starting small and building gradually is so effective. Next question. How do you maintain motivation during plateaus or when progress seems slow?
Very good question. And one more question after that, please. Then we should wrap this up. We're at 24 minutes. But anyway, that's a perfect question, because that leads me into my next mantra. I don't know if that's the correct word. Can you define mantra for me real quick, actually?
A mantra is a word, phrase, or statement that you repeat to yourself, often used for motivation or focus. It's like a personal motto that helps guide your actions or mindset.
So like the ninja way, like in Naruto, where they have their ninja code or whatever, I have a bunch of them. They're like rules of my life. And this is one of my biggest ones, which is if it's hard, so there's 2 rules. So life is hard or it is easy, okay? That's pretty much the 2 modes I've noticed in life. So when it is hard, survive. Don't worry about making a lot of money. Don't worry about whatever. Just get day to day. And this is because of suicidal ideation I've had my entire life, and I've dealt with it for a very long time. And it's progressively gotten smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. But I'm remembering back. So this is kind of advice for people who are depressed, feeling stuck, etc. So when it's hard, just survive. But then when it's easy, step on the gas. That's what I got to say for that. That's a very, very important, and I think that's a pretty good place to get close to ending this. But one more question, Atomic Habits, please, to conclude this podcast. If you would, very much so, please.
That's a powerful mantra and a great perspective to share. For the final question, how has the principle of making habits obvious, as suggested in Atomic Habits, helped you in your journey?
Right, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a new tip that I got from the book. Everybody, I should have probably included this at the beginning, but if you go listen to it, I'm sure it's on YouTube, but it's streaming for free on SoundCloud. So making habits obvious. This is a big reason why I think it's really good. Make it obvious. Things you want to do, keep them in sight. Things you don't want to do, take them out of sight. I accidentally did this in my life. It was very successful for me to quit smoking. So I used to smoke a pack a day for cigarettes, and one of the best ways I was able to keep it in control was to give myself an out. So we made a rule. I talked to my girlfriend about it, and she allowed me, or I asked, I was like, yo, I need some cigarettes, or I want the option to smoke cigarettes. I think that's how it broke down. I don't remember how the conversation originally manifested or where it concluded, but essentially it was, I want the right to have 1 cigarette a month, but I just have to tell you about it just to keep me in check. So then that limited it, but it allowed me to have that in my brain that it's not gone forever. So then it's limited. So it's not obvious. And then, the not obvious part was that I put it downstairs in my freezer, in my chest freezer, underneath some packages of meat. So I had to really go after it. I'd really have to want it. I have to go through a lot of effort because I have to go through a gate, put on my basement shoes, walk down there, stumble through all my mess that I have down there, then get in the freezer, then dig around through some cold ass shit just to go get one cigarette out, and then go outside. I gotta find a fucking lighter because, you know, I ain't got a lighter no more because I'm not a smoker. And then I gotta go out there and sit on the porch, and then one cigarette's never enough or whatever. When your first cigarette, when you first started smoking, all this other stuff. So I did the opposite of making it obvious. I made it unobvious. You get it out of sight, out of mind. So then do that for like another one. I'm trying to go for 1.5 gallons of water a day, so that I got a 1/2 gallon container of appy juice here. I call this diet apple juice. Get it? Because it's apple juice, hold the apple and juice. So then I keep this at my desk, and I just need to drink 3 of these a day. I have one at work. I have it sitting at my workstation too, because I don't want to carry this around. So I made it obvious and easy. I think there's 4 steps. What are the 4 steps of a good habit? If you could summarize that for the viewer real quick.
Sure. The 4 steps for creating a good habit from Atomic Habits are: 1. Make it obvious. Put cues in your environment that remind you of the habit. 2. Make it attractive. Link the habit with something enjoyable to make it more appealing. 3. Make it easy. Reduce the friction to perform the habit, making it simple to do. 4. Make it satisfying. Provide an immediate reward to reinforce the habit. These steps can really help in forming and maintaining good habits.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, make it easy, because like one of the things you just think, like, to figure out how to make things easy, you just go, what sucks about the habit? What's stupid about it? And then just kind of like write it down. One of the things I hated about drinking a lot of water is wanted peeing all the time, but whatever. I'm still, who cares about that much? I just walk away. Whatever. Peeing is easy. It's not that hard. Anyway. So like the thing I hated the most was carrying it around. So then I got multiple apple juices, drank them, and then I just leave them at the places that I'm at the most often, so that I always just have it on site. So that's it. You know, thank you very much, ChatGPT, for making this possible. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope this kind of like resonates a little bit. I hope this kind of works for an experiment. If you could give me some feedback down below, that'd be really great, about how this could be structured, maybe whatever. I'm going to work on this. I think this will make it more of an easy way for me to like bring content, because I want to do, my goal is like 3 pieces of content for the RuneScape channel a day. And if that sounds like too much, or the viewer's not super interested in that, maybe I'll just like float them to my other channels or something along the lines of that. But I just want to really grow this channel, really step on the gas, because I am in an easy season for this. I put a pause pretty much entirely on the rest of my channels. But I really appreciate everybody listening. Hopefully this was of value to somebody. Hope it was interesting, entertaining. Hopefully the idea was a little bit creative enough, not really like cheaply. I don't know. I just thought it would be kind of fun to try out. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. So peace out.